What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 30 Minutes of Hell. I am your host, Brandon Baker, joined as always by Joey Jackson and Matt Jackson, and we've got another Razorback win to talk about. A little bit of an ugly game, for being perfectly honest, but there's some reasons for it. Let's just jump right into this. I have two schools of thought about this game. One, I kind of say this a lot. I think it's good for teams to learn how to win ugly, win games where things are not always going your way. This is the type of game where your best player doesn't have his most efficient shooting night. You're missing guys with injury. You're dealing again with foul trouble, and you still manage to come out with almost a double digit win, 8 point victory. Like, that is all really positive. I think even with the struggles that we saw, it's good to see them figure out how to win when Acuff is not scoring, you know, an efficient 30 points or how whatever he's been doing the last couple of weeks. But the other side of that coin, in the same breath, the reason or one of the big reasons we're in that situation now of having to play ugly, win these games, is the injury, toll that is kind of rising for the Hogs right now. Knox at this point, like, they haven't ruled out a return. I would be surprised if we ever saw Carter Knox in a Razorback jersey again. Just my personal opinion based on having a knee surgery with 4 games left in the year. Like, that's not high odds, I don't think. Sealy was ruled technically available for this game, didn't make an appearance. Acuff is clearly hobbling on his ankle every time down the court. Billy hit the court a couple of times. People were worried about what his injury might look like. For all intents and purposes, I think he's fine, but it's just like that wear and tear is building up. We started this season with not as many players as maybe we wanted to, because of maybe like some other factors like Semedo deciding to redshirt, Kareem Rattel injuring his back. Like, I think Cal recruited to have more than what we have available. We just don't. Things happen, but I think we're getting to a point where the wear and tear and the amount of games we have left before tournament season, where you're playing back to back days, we're approaching an unsustainable play style, and that worries me more, I think, than learning to win ugly and winning all these games. Like, what side of the coin do you guys fall on between those two thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about the injuries. I'm sure y'all saw the presser with Cal where he said that he talked to Acuff and he was like, "Hey, if you want to sit out this one, like I'd rather you sit out now and be ready to go for the next one." And Acuff was like, "Coach, we just lost. Like I'm gonna be out there." And while I respect that, I really do. Like it, he's proven time and time again how much heart he has. You've got to recognize that you're you're the team. Like the team's success lies on your shoulders. So, I mean, out of the games that we have left, you're looking at Florida, Texas, and another one at Missouri. Um, there's not a whole lot of time for you to rest up before we really need you to give us 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Like I wish he would have taken the rest in that game. We I mean, who knows if we would have won that one or not, but I would rather a healthy, at least 80% A cuff come SEC tournament, come NCAA tournament than a 60% A cuff. There were so many times during that game where he would rise up and he would specifically land on his right foot because of how bad his left foot was hurting him. Like you could tell, just like you said, Brandon, he was hobbling around pretty good during that game. So with the 7-man rotation that we have right now and our a few of our core guys already being pretty beat up, like I'm concerned. I feel like it's right to have those worries this close to the end of the season. And like you said, with the games that are we're gonna start seeing back to backs and quick turns, and it's just it's pretty concerning on my end.
Yeah. I personally, I don't know if we win without Acuff, like anything. I think we need him. And I want him in the games that are supposed to be easy more than the games that are going to be difficult. I wouldn't care if he sat out against Florida. I'd rather make sure we win A&M, Texas, and Missouri and lose Florida because he sits out for the sake of losing to Florida is not going to affect our seeding, but losing to Texas or Missouri or A&M, that could harm us a little bit more,
That's
you know.
true, but
And
there's
then
so
we
much
have
more possibility of us winning against Missouri than there is
yes,
of us winning against Florida without Acuff.
right, but like the idea behind it is Florida a Florida win would be huge for us. Yes, I feel like, but a Florida loss isn't going to be detrimental to us,
Yeah.
you know. And so the that idea, which Acuff, I'm be 100% honest, he's not going to sit out against Florida. There's no way he wants a big game against them, and it's just like with the SEC tournament, shoot, we all know that nobody truly cares about the SEC tournament unless they're playing for a spot, in the SEC or in the NCAA tournament. So I'm fine with even resting him there. Just sit him out, make sure we're healthy.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a very
And
hard scenario to be in. I don't really. These are all just like hypothetical ways of how you can get him rest because we know we need him come March.
I want to throw one more thing out too. In this last game against Missouri, I felt like there were stretches that like Acuff went to the bench. He was, on the bike, getting stretched by trainers, whatever, like doing his thing, getting a little bit of rest. There were stretches that we actually saw some positive play from the team while Acuff was on the bench, with DJ Wagner leading them and Billy Richmond doing a lot of the ball handling. And like I think there's a world where we've progressed to the point as a team where everyone has hit their stride. Billy specifically has hit his stride so much, and the team has started to come together so much that I think we can afford that even when Acuff plays, maybe in some of these games, Acuff can play 26 minutes instead of 37 and a half. Because like and it's a game by game scenario because like I get what you're saying totally mad about if he doesn't play against Florida, it's almost like conceding the game without saying that we're going to. Like if we lose,
Right.
whatever, if we win, whatever. But if he's in the game, everyone you're trying to win every game, so it's a hard
Yep.
situation to balance that and get the rest and prepare for the games that matter more. But I think I think there's a world where we can just rest him a little more during games, but that comes down to Cal being able to get him off the court and keep him off the court because I feel like Acuff's the type of player that when he's out there, he's not gonna go for that as much.
I mean, you're
But
looking at a guy who played 50 minutes the game before
yeah,
and then comes out and plays 35 with an injury.
Which,
Like
yeah,
yeah,
you
that
just
double. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say you've got to divvy up the minutes a little more there. Like I understand like he's your guy and he's telling you, hey, I want to be out there. I'm going to play. But as a coach, you have to be willing to pull back on those minutes a little bit and put because I mean even DJ he only played 18 minutes against Mizzou. So like you put him in there for 25 rather than 18, give Acuff, 8 extra minutes of rest. That can go a long way.
Yeah, and him coming off a double overtime game too, that ankle's going to be very sore no matter who you are. So hopefully after this Missouri game, we luckily have a Wednesday night game instead of a Tuesday night game where it's a quick turnover. Hopefully he's a little bit more rested for that. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have to reel them in a little bit. And we have to win early. I mean, we're going to have to win these games early. There's no reason that any team other than Florida coming up should be hanging on to us, where we need to get to the point where we can put Wagner in and have him lead and slow us down. Because I feel like with Wagner, we slow. With Acuff, we're fast. That's just how it reminds me of last year to an extent. We were a much slower team than we are now, transition wise. So I would say win early. Don't let these
mm,
teams keep it close. There was no
yeah.
reason why Missouri should have been hanging around.
Yeah, and that reason is fatigue, right? Like that's kind of the problem at this point because that's the only thing that's slowing
Yeah.
us down is us just getting tired legs and being slower as we get closer to the end of the season, which is why I'm concerned because right now you talk about the quick turnaround, like exactly my point of right now we're talking about a quick turnaround being 3 days versus 4 days. Here in a couple weeks, that's going to be 24 hours versus 28 hours. Like it's about whether or not you get the late slot or not in a tournament setting back to back days. Like that's going to be an issue with seven guys potentially, hopefully seven guys, maybe eight guys healthy come tournament time. But
Right.
regardless of that, shout out DJ. We talked about it a little bit. He had some big plays in this game. He had a crazy dunk, hit a three finally for what feels like the first time in a while. I know he had one against Alabama as well, but made some good
One for
plays. Was
five.
happy with was happy with DJ's minutes. Um, Acuff still got to 20 points. A lot of it came at the free throw line in this game, was just doing what he could to keep the Hogs afloat. Still had 5 assists, still had 0 turnovers. Like his off nights are still 25, 20 and 5 and 0. Like that's crazy. But good stuff from him. Double digit scoring from Malik Thomas and Trevor Brazil. Exactly what we need when you don't have someone like Carter Knox that can give you that scoring punch. Uh, and I'll get you guys' thoughts on this game specifically as well. But last thing that I want to throw out here, call out, I was so happy to see Malik Ewing get 30 plus minutes in this game. Nick Pringle has had some better moments lately. Still not really where I want to see him, where we wanted him to be. He only played 12 minutes in this game, scored 4 points, was fine ish, whatever. But Ewan came in and made an impact. Shot 55% from the field, didn't miss a free throw, 16 points, behind only Billy and Acuff on this on the night in scoring, and like this is the kind of guy that we wanted to see Ewan be all season. We've seen it a couple times. I love to see it against an SEC opponent. I love to see him get rewarded with the more minutes. I love to see that like whatever he does that makes Cal bench him or pull him or whatever. Apparently he didn't do it in this game, or it was just a product of Brazil's about to foul out and Pringle's about to foul out. We have to play Ewan. I don't really care. I liked that he was in the game. I thought he made a good impact. It was good. I liked it. I like to see more of Ewan like this.
I really liked and I wasn't here for the last pod that y'all did after the Alabama game, but I really liked the turnaround from him because there were moments during the Alabama game where he was completely lost. It was not the Ewan that I was used to seeing, and he looked, back to a player in this game. Really, really excited with how Ewan played, and hope to continue seeing his like him stay at a stable 30 minutes. Because I mean, he's a positive when he's on the court. One thing I do want to say real quick is we need to give Malik Thomas his flowers for how great of a rebounding guard he is. Like I put 14 and 8 in this game. Like he had a very quiet, very efficient night. Like he's playing very well. I was very vocal about how excited I was to watch Ewan play at the beginning of the season, and I never expected him to be the rebounder that he is. I expected him to be more of a floater on the perimeter on offense kind of guy. And I don't want to say that I expected to like hide him on defense, but I didn't expect him to be like the rebounder that he is by any means. Like he's an aggressive player. He plays with a lot of energy, a lot of passion. So I've just really been excited watching his progression throughout the year too.
Rebounds a game over his last 3 games, Malik Thomas. And that
Mhm.
includes what would have been a double double against Auburn if he had hit one more shot, had 8 points and 10 boards. That's, yeah, absolutely great call out.
Yeah, I'm of course gonna say give Billy even more flowers
I left him for you, buddy.
because he is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I always say this, but there's nothing more you can say about Billy other than this dude is the embodiment of effort and at this point efficiency. We were give me that number of what he was shooting from the field, Brandon
He
or Joey.
he was I think he's shooting like 64 or 66% from two. Like if you take out the three
Yeah,
pointers, he's shooting like
yeah.
66%.
We don't care about those 3 pointers. That's a new kid's game.
Yeah.
Billy's an old
He
head.
he has a chance. Right now he's at like 59%, but he has a chance to be the first guard to I think Hogstats, Pinto and Hogstats had a tweet about this the other day. I'll have to go find it on Twitter. I don't remember the exact setup of the stat, but I think like 60% from the field and 10 plus points per game as a guard. I think Billy is on pace. Like if he can get that right over 60%, because he's like right at 59 right now. If he gets that up to 60%, he'll be the first guard to do that since Sidney Moncrief in the 70s. Like that,
Crazy.
when you're in those kind of conversations in Razorback basketball history, like we've been talking about where does Acuff rank as one of the all-time greats, and I'm not trying to claim that Billy on the whole ranks on that Mount Rushmore right now, though he's making it hard to argue. But no, I'm just kidding. But when you find stats like that where he's just playing that well in this stretch, and a lot of it has come lately, right? Like the last several games, he's averaging like 18 points over his last 6 games, including over 20 points in each of his last three. Like hitting that stride and settling in as well as he has is just unexpected a little bit, but just unprecedented. It's
And
phenomenal.
and something that we don't really talk about a ton around Billy is how great of a mid-range shooter he is. I think I was talking to you about it, Brandon. Like I thought Tremont Mark was a great mid-range shooter, but you look at guys like Billy, you look at guys like Acuff, every time they get, to their little elbow area or, that just that mid-range spot, if either one of those guys are pulling it from that spot, I'm like, that's going in. Like that's automatic. Like I trust that with my life. I would bet money on that mid-range shot from Billy Richmond and Darius Acuff 9 times out of 10. Like they are hitting that shot, and I wish I had stats around, what Billy's percentage was from the mid-range as opposed to, including layups and dunks, because I bet it's pretty
I'll look
high
for
up
it.
there.
Yeah, and
I'll look for it. Yeah.
we talked about that last pod about how Billy hasn't really used that mid-range game really up until Alabama when they were sagging off of him so much.
Hmm.
And so
Exactly. Yeah.
it looked a little rusty at first, but then he started hitting and then they had to step up. And
Mhm.
he's dangerous. I
He
mean,
shoots that mid-range with confidence.
yeah, he's a dangerous man. And who needs a 3-point shot when you're shooting 60% from the field? I mean, it's like just let him go. So
Yeah. I
overall, Billy is just absolutely phenomenal. Who would have thought that he was going to be? If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that there was going to be a game where Billy Richmond was our leading scorer and he had 20 plus points, I would have been like, you're crazy. Billy's a max 16-point guy, right? But no, this guy's going to go for 30 next game.
Yeah, I mean his career high was 16 coming into this year, and in
Yeah.
the last he's broken that 3 games in a row now. He's at
Hmm.
25, 20, and 21 his last 3 games.
He's
Yeah,
he's rolling.
absolutely. He's the type of scorer that like I've talked about it before. Like there's a distinction between guys that are pure shooters, like spot up shooters, and guys that are like score the basketball. And I'm talking like Kobe Bryant type mid range, like the footwork, the elevation on the jump shot. And Billy has that ability to know like how high to rise up over somebody, how to adjust his shot midair. Like he has those scoring attributes. He just is still fine tuning the sharp shooting, like the pure shooting attributes of like how to get his feet set, how high to elevate when he's wide open, like those kind of things that make a truly good 3 point shooter are still coming around. But the scoring aspect of when he gets in the paint, when he's being guarded, when he's on the drive, when he's rising up, like he's got all of that. He's got things that is hard for an NBA team to teach that kind of skill from a player, especially of his size and what all else he brings. And to that point, I think we're approaching the point now where I'm almost like my eyes are to the future with Billy of whether or not he's playing himself out of a spot on next year's roster by playing himself into a spot on an NBA team next year. Like, I don't think like this is a loaded draft class. It's going to be hard for Billy to sneak into the first round of this draft class. If I had to put money on it right now, I think that he probably still wouldn't go to the NBA draft. But if he keeps this trend and he gives us 4 more in a row, 20-point games, shooting 60%, like I can't fault him. You know what I mean? Like he's showing what he needs to show. And to the point of what I was just talking about, I think an NBA team can develop a 3 point shot better than they can develop anything else that Billy Richmond provides. The athleticism, the IQ, the defensive, instinct, the scoring ability. Like you can't teach that the way you can just teach a jump shot.
And what I'm thinking on that side of things is, would you? I mean, if Billy keeps this up and he, averages 18 points over the rest of his season here in Arkansas, do you want to consider coming back with the team that we have next year? I obviously I want Billy Richmond back on this team, but our the team's going to be great next year. I mean, we've got a terrific unit. Like if you play yourself into the early second round or late first in a year like this, do you want to risk coming back and potentially hurting your stock with the loaded team that we'll potentially have next year?
I
Yes, because he's coming back for me. I don't think I can take it if he leaves, guys. I'm gonna need to find a new dog. Like who's that gonna be?
To your point, Joey, I think there is a spot currently where Billy comes back and he is a not only a starter but a top 2 to 3 scorer on next year's squad if he wanted to, if he plays the way if he continues this progression we've seen, right? Like I don't think the sell for Billy now if he comes back is not come back and see what happens again. You might be our sixth man. Like if Billy comes back as a junior, he is the starting small forward, the starting like one of the lead scorers, one of the go-to options. I think like that would be the sell. I think even with the group that's coming in right now, I think that he is ahead of Torre, ahead of JJ Andrews. Like he would be up above those freshmen coming back. But it is a loaded roster. It is the risk of a down year. It is the risk of injury. Like there's a lot that goes into it. It's the can an NBA team with the 32nd pick match the NIL that we're offering Billy? That's a big part of it these days. Like so, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Like I said, I would bet on him coming back at this current moment, but we will see how the season plays out, where it has at this summer.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same game parlays, best in class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
All right, let's move on. Arkansas just has a couple of games left. 4 more on the schedule. Up next, Wednesday night at home, Texas A&M. It's another late game. Joey and I will be attending together. This will be a fun one to be at. A&M's been a pretty good team this year in conference play. Um, a game that I think Arkansas should be able to handle. The way that I feel about pretty much every game that we've played, aside from like 2 in SEC play. Uh, the Aggies are among one of the better scoring teams in the country, and the thing that stands out to me more than just their pure points is that they do it as a unit, and by that I mean they rank very highly in assist to turnover ratio. It's not just one guy. Like Arkansas ranks pretty well in some assist metrics, and it's because Darius Acuff gets you 9 per night and only turns the ball over 1 time a game. A&M's got like 5 guys that average 2 or more assists a game, or something similar to that. And like just as a unit, they're high IQ. I think that they can punish miscommunications defensively that Arkansas has gotten a lot better at lately, but are still not perfect at. We still see some of those miscues here and there. I think A&M is the type of team that can punish those more than some others just because they have so many guys all over the court that share the ball well, that move well, that know the offense well. The Bucky ball, as people call it, with Bucky McMillan in his first year at A&M as head coach. But a team that has a lot of double-digit scorers, a lot of guys that move the ball. Ag is averaging 14 a game, and then you've got Marcus Hill, Rylan Griffin, and Dominguez are all at 11 points per game, all like decently efficient from the field. Just one of those like well-rounded, high IQ, run their stuff don't overwhelm you with like one or two talented guys at the top, the way that someone like Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas do for Arkansas, or the way that we see LeBaron Philon take over a game for Alabama. Like I think A&M is just kind of like a attack, strength in numbers type attack by committee, and I feel like more so than some of the other teams we've played. So I'm interested to see how we handle that, especially with the fatigue and the shortened roster that we've been talking about, because they do have a lot of guys that can play well and can play a lot of minutes. So those are my big concerns, talking points for them.
I think our it's a blessing and a curse, I feel like, because A&M's not super big. Like, I mean, AG's their rebounder, but he comes in at 6'7". So we're really gonna need some solid minutes out of Brazil, need solid minutes out of Pringle, need solid minutes out of Ewan. I mean, we've just gotta really control the glass on this one. And like you said, Brandon, with them being such a great passing team and how well they move the ball around, they run a lot of like flare screen actions with AG being the screener, and he's a big body. So if you're not
Mm-hmm.
calling that screen out on the backside, you're gonna get rocked, and they're gonna get a three from Clemens, or they've just got a lot of weapons, and they've got some nice plays that they run for some of their shooters. That we got to look out to, but I'm really looking at our bigs as the X factor for this, which
Mm-hmm.
really they tend to be almost every game that we've played this year.
Absolutely, yeah. And just to build on that, yeah, Rylan Griffin and Dominguez both averaging over 5 3-point attempts a game, both shooting over 40% from behind the arc. Like that, that's solid shooters. They rank in the top 15, 10 or so in 3-pointers attempted and made on the season.
And once again, another game I'm sure is going to come down to foul count. How Because our defense is played based on the fouls that we have to give. We are a fairly handsy defense. We get our hands on guys. I'm never saying that like a lot of these calls aren't okay calls. It's just you gotta, if you have one foul to give, right? You got four. You're not gonna play as good a defense. You're gonna be playing back, and then that's where we have our issues. So I agree. It's gonna be the bigs that are the X factor, and it's gonna be how they can control their fouling.
Yeah. Right. From here on out, we talk about the fatigue, the guys that need to step up and everything. Foul trouble goes hand in hand with all of that. Of we already are limited on who's available. When you have Billy Richmond or Malik Thomas go to the bench with 2 fouls early in the first half, now you have 6 guys, and that just like quickly becomes a problem because and when you have those 6 guys, sometimes you're going to have to play both of your bigs, and we don't love both of our bigs on the court all the time. Like we are just talking about how Pringle's not giving us what we need, and Ewan's kind of inconsistent. Like if we're forced to have to play both of those guys 28 minutes, even more of an X factor. Like you just said, Joey, it's every game we're worried about how are these guys gonna how they're gonna play, how they're gonna contribute, how consistent they're gonna be. If we get to the point where they have to be out there so much, like it becomes even more impactful. So absolutely,
I really want to see more of Wagner in this game. He's kind of
yep,
stepped up the last couple. I
yep,
want to see Sealy. I want to see us get an 8-man rotation going, because we're gonna have to, one way or another,
yes,
prepare Sealy for
Yeah.
what's to come.
And I'm confident with
he's
him. I think
yeah,
all
Me
of us
too.
are. I
Yeah.
think all of us are very confident with Sealy's ability to do the right thing. Brandon, you talk about it all the time with him. Is he's always in the right spots. He's always
right.
doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's the minor tweaks that he needs on the skill set side that will propel him into being like a real SEC player. But the things that are hard to teach of the IQ and the not rushing himself and those type, like he's already got all of that. I love that he came in with that type of mentality and skill set, because someone like Cal can mold that into a real player, giving him the skill set, giving him the jump shot that he needs, that kind of stuff. But I definitely want to see Sealy soon. I am in the boat of, like you mentioned earlier, Matt, with Acuff, it's more important to have him healthy and ready to go. I like that we're able to give Sealy some rest and have him ready to go, because apparently he's still dealing with this injury and not going. But we also need to understand what that 8-man rotation looks like before it's March 22nd and we're in the first round of the tournament. We need some games under our belt with what that rotation is going to look like without Knox and with Sealy inserted instead. So two sides to the coin of we want our guys healthy. We want them, to recover fully from their injury as they can, but we got to see what the team looks like before the games matter more. All right. Back at home against A&M, give me some score predictions. Do the Hogs go back to back?
Me? You
Let's
go
hear it.
first. Me first. All right. Yes, of course. Now the score is the hard part for me. I already know what I'm gonna say if we're gonna win. The score is always the hard part. I am gonna go with. Hmm, I'm gonna go with 88. Us. I think it's gonna be a little closer than I like. So I'm gonna say 80. 88 to 80.
88 to 80. Hmm. That's interesting.
Joey
All
literally
right.
has 8880.
No, I'm gonna say that so much lies on how Acuff's feeling because I want to say like 92, but if Acuff
Yeah,
isn't
that's why
100%,
I went
then
88.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 89 to 77.
I like it. All right. Yeah, I think that Acuff doesn't have two off nights in a row, even if he only plays on one leg. So I'm going to say that we do hit 90. I'm going to go Arkansas 94, A&M 81. The double digit win at home. Yeah, Billy's been playing too well. Acuff, I don't think, even on his off night with 20 points, I think that we'll see some good scoring on our home court in this one, especially if you get someone like Sealy back and get a little more rest for some
Yeah.
guys. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one. But we are approaching. We kind of mentioned it with 4 games left. Florida is really the only one I think that we can afford to lose and still be where we want to be come tournament time. So this is quickly approaching a need to win. I think must win maybe is a too strong of a word because Arkansas is comfortably in the tournament no matter what happens. Like even if you lose out, you're probably like a 7 seed at worst. But to stay on that 5 line where we want to be, you need to win 3 of these last 4. Preferably all 4 would be great. Maybe you're knocking on the door for that 4 seed. So a need to win, not a must win. All right. That's all the time we have for you guys today. Appreciate you tuning in. Quick reminder, we are brought to you by the Field of 68 Podcast Network. You can find us on YouTube, on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your stuff. Please like, subscribe, retweet, leave a review, leave a comment, share with your friends. It really helps us out. We really appreciate it. Until next time, I have been your host, Brandon Baker, joined as always by Joey Jackson and Matt Jackson. And as always, go Hogs.